How's it going, YouTube? DMTombstone back here again with a brand new video. And obviously, guys, I mentioned that I was going to reveal the results of probably the Choose About contest, which I probably will at the end of this video. But as you can see, this video titled, it's another story time with DMTombstone belts. And because of today being September 11th, I thought maybe I should go back and tell you how I remember 9/11 back when I was a kid back in 2001. So I was just going to, I think it was either first grade or kindergarten back in elementary school. And it was just regular morning, going to school around 8 o'clock and so. And I think we were just in the home class. In elementary school, it was just a regular class that you then moved from, like either gym or go to the library and all that else that was within the school. Unlike it was for me in high school, where there was no home class besides probably seminar, which was your home class, but you go to like each different classes for each different schedule. Where in elementary school, the main class was for all schedules, like social studies, math, history, all that was in one class. It wasn't class to class. But anyway, I think I was in first grade, and obviously we were just getting ready to go into school around 8 o'clock. Obviously this was about a couple minutes, almost about an hour before the attacks on that Tuesday morning in September 11, 2001. But anyway, I don't recall what we were doing for time class. Probably we were doing, English or something, I don't know. This is 18 years ago, so it's hard to remember. But what I do remember is me and my brothers were, my brother were in that school. My other brother was in daycare at the time. But my older brother and I were in school doing classwork. And this school was right next to our grandmother's house. So usually our grandma would either drop us off or pick us up after our parents first wake me and my brother up in the morning and then we drive to our grandma's house, or they would drop us off at the school, then our grandma would pick us up and leave us at their house until our parents would pick us up or something like that. But anyway, around the time, I say around 9 o'clock or so, maybe 10 o'clock, that's when I heard on the PA system at our school say my name and my brother's name to go down to the principal's office. It was also saying other people's names as well. We didn't know what was going on at that time. Me and my brother got down to the principal's office and our grandma was there. Our grandma was coming to pick us up for some reason. I was like, what's going on? My brother was saying the same thing as well. My grandma got us out of the school. There was other people that were coming up to pick up their children too. It wasn't like rows of people, but some people were coming, taking the kids out of the classroom. And then my grandma and my grandfather, who I think was still working at the time. My grandma was the only one there to pick us up. She got us out of the school, got us into the car, we drove to her house. As soon as we walked in, I can barely remember, but I remember she told us about, we were wondering what's going on. She probably didn't tell us much about it because we were little at the time and we wouldn't expect much of a thing about it. But anyway, we were driving down the streets, and then when we got to the driveway of her house, we got out of the car, we entered her house, I mean, we saw maybe a little bit of the segment of what was going on the TV with the World Trade Center being under attack by airplanes. But she told us to get into the basement. She told me and my brother to get down to the basement and just duck and cover our heads. I was like, "What's going on?" It was like the type of stuff we do during a tornado, which we had near misses of those times. But that's the thing. She was scared. She acted scared. We were a little bit scared too, wondering what was going on. But me and my brother, we got downstairs into the basement. This was a single level house, so we only had the ground floor and the basement, though. Anyway, we walked down. Me and my brother got downstairs. We got to the side of the wall of the basement. We got down on our knees and just ducked and covered our heads, thinking what was going on. And I think we stayed like that for about an hour or so. And hearing a lot of stuff that was going on upstairs. And little did we know at the time, I think it was our grandma and our parents and our grandparents were scared of what they were seeing on TV. They were afraid that our school would have been the next target. So obviously, my grandmother or my mother or father or whatever thought to get me and my brother out of the school, just in case the fact there was another terrorist attack. And then we find out later that, I mean, I'm pretty sure of it. I think if I recall, we got out of the basement and we looked up on the TV, and that's when we were seeing the World Trade Center burning and while collapsing. But it was, you know, it's like 18 years later. You know, this is 18 years ago, and I was just a kid back then. It's hard to remember like that far back, but that's how I recall 9/11 was. Like, because I was wondering what was going on, and obviously my parents and grandparents were not saying much, but when I got older to understand what was happening, and as well, starting to see that, like, on the TV most of the time about 9/11, it was like, wow, this was shocking, the fact that my parents and my grandparents were, got the blunt force of what was happening in New York City and what was happening in our country, and thought that we could be the next target and wanted to protect us in any way. And to think that this darkest moment in American history happened around my time. I mean, obviously, yeah, there was darker. And obviously, this was the second time the World Trade Center was attacked. The first time was in the basement of the World Trade Center in '93, but I wasn't born at the time. But then, to recall, my youngest brother was only about 2 years old at the time when this happened, so he probably don't recall much of it at all, let alone remember. My oldest brother was 6 at the time. So, I mean, he might have some memory of that, but it's probably a little bit sketchy, like me. Like, I'm telling you as much of the information as I remember, but yeah, that's why I wanted to say where I was on 9/11. Obviously, I'm pretty sure someone in my family could tell us the much better story, but it's just me at this time, but obviously, I wanted to say for you guys, especially those that were victims of, or the loved ones of those who were lost in 9/11, that my heart goes out to you guys, and I say sorry for your loss, for all those people, and it was pretty excited to know the fact that 10 years later, back in 2011, when we ended up getting Osama bin Laden, and I read on the May 1st, I think it was May 1st, when SEAL Team 6 got him. So it was pretty exciting, and obviously it's odd for me to do this video it's time for the 18th anniversary of this most devastating attack on American soil. Obviously, just 2 more years away from being 20 years, and yet it's funny, man, that 9/11 happened almost 2 decades ago, and yet we're still remembering to this day. And we've proven that even in our darkest moments, we all come together as one. Doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter what sex, doesn't matter what religion. All that matters is that we take care of each other, because that's who we are. Is the fact that we are proud Americans, and we always stand up against those who do wrong, and always stand up for each other on the side of danger. But anyway, guys, that is it. Besides, for the Choose a Belt contest, I have sorted it down to 3 choices, where it's the Winged Eagle belt, the Oval IC belt, and of course the #1 most picked belt, the Smoking Skull belt. So guys, keep on voting in the Choose a Belt contest video, the recent one, or you can now put your votes in this one. Out of those 3, like I said, Winged Eagle, Oval IC, and Smoking Skull. But anyway, guys, I'll say probably next week I'll pick the winner, and I'll begin back on to making that belt. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave your comments below what you guys think, and as well, if you guys want to as well tell me about where you were at the time of September 11, 2001. Maybe you want to write down your story in the comments below. Maybe I'd like to read them, give you feedback, and as well, don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to me already, please do leave a like, and as well share it. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at DMTombstone96, and of course follow me on Instagram at DanielMe96, where I'll possibly be posting updates of belts or stuff I make before it gets on this channel. So look into me there on DM Tombstone Belts, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video.